You could do it. They could do it. Everybody's strong. Everybody else that had surgery. Good to know. Good to know.
Still from my bar mitzvah.
I cannot find it.
Yeah,
Just fine.
this was from my bar mitzvah. So what are we talking about? 60 plus years ago? Well, actually, before we did. She brought me back. It's one of those big wrap yourself.
Yeah, that's what I have.
And it's hard to. I have.
Thank you. Welcome back to those who are here spending the day with us. You loyal, committed few who are here with us, but we know there are others at home watching, and we're glad they're there. We know this time of day, it's kind of the ebb and flow of Yom Kippur, and it's kind of the quietest time of the day, a chance to really enjoy in the sanctuary and to listen to the choir and to listen to the music, and a little later for us to learn and hear the reading of Torah and Haftarah. Also, it gives you a sense of the pattern. As the service goes on, more will trickle in and more, and then Yisker, and then Ne'ilah with the closing of the gates. So you are here with us. I want to just take a moment to thank all the streamers. I think Mark is the streamer at the moment, but also Jay and Carl and Jeff, each of whom spend a lot of hours. Jay's going to be, we let him out to hold the Torah with us, so that's good, but it's going to help us, to help us get through this day. And those of you who are at home, we're glad you're with us as well. And if you are at home because of illness, you are in our prayers. Ozi v'zimrat ya Adonai is my strength, my song, my praise. Page 325. Page 326, we read responsively. At this hour, Israel stands as one in prayer. All Jews on earth unite through memory and hope.
A people unafraid, unvanquished, says to God, this people you have formed still lives to tell your praise.
Still lives to share this teaching with our youth. Our ancient journey has not reached its end. The faith implanted at our people's birth is realized from age to age, our sacred covenant. This people, few in number, ventured forth to carve a lonely path through wilderness. With dreams of vines and fig trees, justice in the gates, the land of peace.
And still we make our way across the desert. This people you have formed still lives to walk before you.
Exiled once to Babylon, we learned the unity of God. A second time, dispersed by Rome, we learned that humankind is one. Hear, O Israel, the call still sounds. Eternity is ever present in your midst, a heritage of sacred purpose in your heart. Your past tells a story for all peoples. Your future holds a promise still unfolding.
At this hour, Israel stands as one in prayer. All Jews on earth unite through memory and hope. We look at one another, and we know who we are. We look to our Creator, and we know our strength.
In pursuit of truth, this people lives to serve the Most High for the sake of life. Behind us, pain and glory. Before us, holy work. Timeless words command us. Toward eternity we gaze. Page 328. It shall come to pass in the fullness of time, the mountain of the house of God shall be established as the highest mountain, and raised above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. Then many people shall say, come, let us go up to the mountain of the Eternal, to the house of the God of Jacob. And they shall say,
teach us your ways, that we may walk in your paths.
We continue responsively. We give thanks today for a Torah of life, the way of kindness, mercy, and truth.
May compassion be our source of sustenance now, as in our people's past.
May our souls withstand times of crisis, and our hearts the inclination to evil.
May the covenant of Abraham and Sarah strengthen our will to do what is right.
May the qualities of mercy and goodness, love and forgiveness flow through our lives.
And let us be strong in a perilous world. Let us open our hearts to the path of Torah.
I'd like to call up Jay Martin and ask all of us to rise as we prepare for Seder Kriyat Torah, this order of reading Torah. you'll be able to find on page 330 the blessing for reading from Torah. On page 338, you'll be able to find the Torah portion we'll be reading from. There are a few different options. With every new Reformed prayer book, we like to give more options. But we are reading from Kedoshim, which reminds us of our choices on this day. Life and death and holiness, and that we can be inspired to live holy lives. Our Torah reader will be Vicki Abrams, and I want to thank her for jumping right in to help us out. And please be seated. Our aliyot is you. It has been a custom, I don't know if it's been a custom at Beth-El, but it's been my custom for a while, that as the day wears on and we are here and forming a community more than a minyan, it's nice to have that honor. So this is a two-part honor. If you want to come up, you can. If you're like, I was just getting comfortable, no way, you can also join us from your seats. But I want to invite anyone who is comfortable with an aliyah, who has wanted aliyah, who wishes they got an aliyah, I don't know, and who would like to join in the blessing with us, to feel free. And if you're nervous about hitting the note, we've got that covered. Page 330 is the blessing. Page 338. And of course, I want to call you up. Thank you so much, Vicki, for reading from us. We'll be reading from, again, some of Kedoshim while we're coming up and finding our courage. A little bit of Kedoshim trivia. It is smack in the middle of the Torah exactly. I have never counted every word in the Torah, but from other people I have a lot more time on their hands, for whom I have lots of confidence, they swear to me this is the exact middle of the Torah. It is known by the words, the Holiness Code, because it is one of the few parts of the laws in the Torah that actually gives us a reason. It says you should keep these laws because this will help you live this way. So with that, we can join in with the aliyah, and I'll let you hit the first note.
Baruch Adonai HaMevarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el kol adat b'nei Yisrael, ve'amarta alehem kedoshim tihu, ki kadosh ani Adonai Eloheim. Ishimo ve'avi tira'u, ve'et shabtotai tishmoru, ani Adonai Eloheim. Al tivnu el halilim, ve'lohei masecha, lo ta'asu lahem, Ani Adonai Eloheim, vechi tizbechu, zevach shlamim l'Adonai, l'rtzonhem tizbechu, beyom sifchahem, yeyachelu mimaharat, vechanotar ad yom hashlishi, ba'esh yisaref, ve'im heyachol yeyachel b'yom hashlishi, Pigulhu lo yeratzeh, ve'ochlav avono yisa, ki et kodesh Adonai hilel, ve'nichreta hanefesh ahiv me'amecha, uve'kutzrechem eketzir etzchem, lo techale, pe'atzadcha liksor, ve'lekeketzircha lo telaket, V'charmecha lo teolel, ufer karmecha lo telaket, le'ani ve'lager ta'azov otam, ani Adonai Eloheim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, ve'chayei olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
And for all of you who have come up for this Aliyah, Mishaber Avotinu, Avram Yitzchak V'Yaakov, Imutinu Sarah Rachel V'Leah, Hu Yivarech. May God, who blessed our ancestors, all of them bless you with strength, with health, with new opportunity in the year to come, with all wonderful blessings. And as you have stood here with the Torah in the presence of our community, may you continue to lead and to guide both here in our Jewish community and in all you do and in all your undertakings. And we say together, Amen. And you can all, see, you're done, everybody else is done but us. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you were looking at the English, you could see, and if not, you could look at it now. If you're looking at English, you could see, catching my thought. You could see that there was a great deal of material about both holiness. It is known as the Holy Code, honor your parents. If you look later in the portion, having just scales and weights, don't place a stumbling block before the blind. And in the midst of that, there are guidelines for the sacrificial offering. A reminder that this service was the Musaf service. This service was created to replace the sacrifice that was offered in the temple in Jerusalem on Yom Kippur in the middle of the day. And so you see a remembrance of that in the reading, but also a reminder about all those ethical and moral ways for us to live as well. Say a word about that later. Page 340, we offer a prayer. Before we sing a prayer, we offer a prayer. For all those who are in need of healing, for all in our hearts and minds, there are just too many people at the other services for us to go around the room and ask 400 people to share a name. But we have an opportunity here. If you have a name you would like to add, a name that could use healing in the coming year. Looking in the back, yeah. Thank you. She gets better, yes. Thanks, Sonia. Page 340, responsively. May the Eternal One who blesses all life, bless and strengthen all of us who struggle against illness. May we whose lives are touched by illness be blessed with faith, courage, love, and care. May we experience the support and sustenance of family, friends, companions, and community.
May we be granted restful nights and days of comfort. We pray for refuah shlema,
Precious moments of healing and a sense of wholeness in body and soul. May those who care for the sick with their hands, their voices, and their hearts be blessed with courage and stamina.
May those who pursue healing through medical skill and knowledge be blessed with insight, patience, and compassion.
May all of us, the sick and the well together, find courage and hope.
And let us say,
Amen. On that same page, you see at the bottom, we rise as we dress the Torah and return it. Actually, no, we don't return it to the Torah. We just dress it. Please rise. Please be seated. Oh my goodness, I could say so much about this Haftarah portion. I'm not going to. Someone else is, wherever he is. But we are going to turn to Jonah. What an incredible, there's so much to say about Jonah. We're not going to. Page 342, you can find the blessing for before the Haftarah. And there's Sameh. And David Beckram will be reading us the story of Jonah on the pages that follow, beginning on 345.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar b'nvi'im tovim, baratzah v'divrehim v'ne'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'vin v'e ha'emet v'tzedek.
And the word of Adonai came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Get up, go to the great city of Nineveh, and proclaim against it, for their evil deeds have risen up before me. But Jonah got up to flee to Tarshish, away from the presence of Adonai. And he went down to Jaffa, and found there a ship heading for Tarshish. And he paid its fare and went down into it, to head with them to Tarshish, away from the presence of Adonai. But Adonai hurled a great wind upon the sea, a storm at sea so great that the ship was in danger of being shattered to pieces. And the sailors were frightened, cried out each to their own god, and flung the ship's cargo into the sea to lighten their load. But Jonah had gone down into the hold, the lower deck of the vessel, and he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. And the captain approached him and said to him, "What are you doing sound asleep? Get up, call to your God. Perhaps the God will be kind to us, and we will not perish." And they said to each man to his companion, "Let us cast lots, that we might know of whose account this evil event has come to us." So they cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. And they said to him, "Tell us, you who have brought this evil upon us, what is your trade, and where have you come from? What is your country, and who are your people?" And he said to them, "I am a Hebrew. I revere Adonai, God of heaven, who made sea and dry land." The men felt great fear, and they asked him, "What have you done?" Because the men knew he was fleeing from Adonai, for so he had told them. And they asked him, "What should we do to you to bring calm to the sea around us?" For the sea was growing more and more stormy. So he said to them, "Lift me up and hurl me into the sea, and the sea will calm down for you, for I know that this great storm came upon you because of me." And the crew rowed hard to return to the dry land, but they could not do it, for the sea was raging more and more fiercely around them. And they called out to Adonai, saying, "Please, Adonai, please do not let us perish because of the life of this man, and do not hold us guilty of shedding innocent blood. For you, Adonai, that which you desired you have brought about." And they lifted Jonah and hurled him into the sea. Then the sea stopped raging. The men revered Adonai. Great was their reverence. So they offered to Adonai a sacrifice and made vows. And Adonai provided a great fish to swallow Jonah. And Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah prayed to Adonai, his God, from the belly of the fish. And he said, I called to Adonai in my distress, and God answered me. I cried from the belly of the netherworld, and you heard my voice. Into the depths you cast me, into the heart of the sea, and the floods engulfed me. All your billowing, breaking waves swept over me. And I thought to myself, I was banished from before your eyes. Will I ever again gaze upon your holy temple? The waters closed in over me. The deep engulfed me. Rushes wrapped around my head. I descended to the low point of the mountains. The gates of the earth closed upon me forever. Yet you, Adonai God, raised up my life from the pit. When my life fainted away, I called Adonai to mind, and my prayer came to you, to your holy temple. They who cling to empty folly forsake their own welfare. But I, with a shout of thanksgiving, I will sacrifice to you. What I have vowed, I will fulfill. Rescue comes from Adonai. Adonai commanded the fish, and it spewed Jonah out upon dry land. And the word of Adonai came to Jonah a second time. Get up, go to the great city of Nineveh, and call out to it and proclaim that I tell you. So Jonah got up and went to Nineveh, according to the word of Adonai. Now Nineveh was a great city of God, 3 days' journey across. And Jonah started out and made his way into the city, the distance of a one-day walk. And he called out and said, 40 more days, and Nineveh will be overturned. The people of Nineveh trusted in God, and they proclaimed a fast, and they put on a sackcloth from the richest to the poorest. And word reached to the king of Nineveh, and he got up from his throne, took off his robe, put on sackcloth, and sat in ashes. And he cried out and said to Nineveh, by decree of the king and his nobles, no person or beast, of flock or herd, shall taste anything. They shall not graze, and they shall not drink water. They shall be covered with sackcloth, person and beast, and shall call loudly to God. Let all turn back from their evil ways and from the violence which is their hands. Who knows? God may turn and relent, turn back from the heat of anger, so that we do not perish. God saw what they did, how they were turning back from their evil ways, and God relented from the evil plan for them and did not carry it out. But to Jonah, this was a great evil, and it made him angry. So he prayed to Adonai, saying, please, Adonai, is this not what I said when I was still in my own town? This is why I fled to Tarshish to begin with, for I knew that you are a gracious and compassionate God, endlessly patient and abounding in steadfast love, ready to repent of evil. And now, Adonai, please take my life from me, for it is better for me to die than to live. And Adonai said, is it good for you to be angry? Then Jonah left the city, found a place east of the city, made himself a shelter there, and sat under it in the shade until he might see what would become of the city. And Adonai Elohim provided a gourd, and made it rise up over Jonah to give him shade for his head and rescue him from the evil situation. And Jonah rejoiced with great joy because of the gourd. But at dawn the next day, God provided a worm that attacked the gourd, and it withered. And as the sun rose, God provided an oppressive wind from the east, and the sun beat down on Jonah's head, making him faint. He begged for death, saying, it is better for me to die than to live. Then God said to Jonah, are you good and angry about the gourd? And he said, I am good and angry to the point of death. Then Adonai said, you pitied the gourd which you neither worked for nor grew, which appeared overnight and perished overnight. Should I then not have compassion for the great city of Nineveh, a place of more than 120,000 human beings, unable to tell their right hand from their left, and many beasts?
Blessed are you, our God eternal, supreme power of the universe, rock of all ages, source of justice in all generations, God in whom faithfulness abides, whose word is deed, whose every utterance bespeaks truth and righteousness. Our God eternal, for all these gifts we thank you and bless you, Torah, worship, and the books of the prophets, and this day of atonement, given to us for the sake of pardon and forgiveness, that we might make amends with honor and dignity. Let all life bless your name continually to the end of time, so that your truth will endure forever. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign, who forgives our failings and pardons the failings of your people the house of Israel. You banish our guilt from year to year. You reign in majesty over all the earth. You sanctify the people Israel and the day of atonement.
Thank you so much to all of our participants for chanting. We turn to page 353. We will rise to return the Torah to the ark, and then we will remain standing as we look to Tefillah, Avot, Zacharenu, and the Kedusha. Remain standing as we turn to page 356.
Can you hear my voice? Can you understand?
Page 365, we read together. Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai, you are the power that never diminishes and never subsides. From you we draw Gevurah, our inner core of strength, strength to rise at dawn when hungry babies cry, strength to rise before the aged parent, to bring care and dignity, strength to give patience to a child whose needs overwhelm us, strength to hold and heal a spouse in pain, to give love without losing hope, strength to survive a job that is stressful and unrewarding, strength to endure months or years without work and purpose, strength to face crises and strength to surmount everyday hurdles, strength to keep practicing and exercising, trying mightily in spite of failure, strength to do what is called for, even when it is hard, strength to do what is right, even when others do not. Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai, your power is with us always, in our human stamina and resilience, in our determination to persevere, in the discipline to set limits and make choices, in the fortitude to be true to our principles. Blessed is Gevurah, the will to act with courage, the gift of inner strength. Page 398, Kedusha.
לבחרך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה.
Please be seated. The tricky part of the service. It was, as I said, a substitute for the sacrifice service in Jerusalem. The Reform movement really didn't know what to do with that. So in one of our prayer books, if you remember Gates of Repentance, they gave you the entire history of the Jewish people, from the very moment of creation until the Holocaust, the rebuilding of Israel. And I, being a young rabbinic student and rabbi, would just read all of it with everybody. Until one day my mom, of all people, told me later she was in the restroom in the middle of service, in the middle of the day, and heard two women saying, "Oh my gosh, they've got to figure out something to do with that afternoon service." She told me later, of course. And that began kind of a process of experimentation every year to say, how do we tell the Jewish story in different ways in this middle of the day place where we as Reformed Jews have to find out what we use with this time of reflection. And as you've known for several years, I've invited others to tell their story or their experiences. We offered some of that on Rosh Hashanah morning this year, and it gives us a chance to go into a little bit more depth. Not with me, because, gosh, you hear from me all year, but from someone else with another voice. As some of you may have read in the Texas Jewish Post, or just knowing by talking to him, Jerry Appel, a professor at TCU, has been a journey the last few years of reading and studying, of recreating his Shabbat, thinking about his Jewish life. And he has lots to say about Jonah and prayer and journeys and this time of day. And when I asked Jerry if he wanted to share a little bit of Rosh Hashanah morning, he said, "No, but I would do Yom Kippur afternoon." And I said, it's a smaller group at Yom Kippur afternoon. And he said, "Perfect. That's the group I want to share it with." So I won't say more except to welcome him, someone who is on a journey, who is the chair of our Lifelong Learning Committee and brings his passion and his questions to study at the temple. And I will also, here you go, Jerry. Turn on this so you can plug this in and walk wherever you wish. It's on you. When you turn it on, we'll find out.
Okay. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Yes? Do I need to
Takes
make
a
it
moment.
higher?
Now we can hear you, yes?
Now you can hear me?
Yes, perfect. All right.
I can shout. Okay.
All right. Get out of the way.
Thank you.
Choice of mics.
Oh, okay. So I learned this little trick from watching Rabbi with a stopwatch. Because once I get going, I don't know. Don't know what it's going to be like. So, 3 years ago, I did this for the first time, and I talked about baseball. And I compared baseball to Yom Kippur. Thank you, John, for giving me that role. So, I find it fascinating that I sometimes watch Central Synagogue, and sometimes I watch, all the time I watch this service, sometimes I watch Central. And so I was watching, and Rabbi Beth-El last night was very excited about Aaron Judge breaking Roger Maris's, yes, and announced it from the podium. For those of you who know me, I'm a Red Sox fan. So it was, I immediately turned off the TV. I do love baseball. It is my passion, one of my passions. So I thought I would do something a little different. As the rabbi said, I'm a teacher by trade, so I'm not a sermonizer. I don't give sermons. I give lectures, and I go down, and I ask questions. So you may find that I do that a little bit today. So for those of you here, the rabbi said, don't worry, you're going to have, you'll have a relatively small crowd here, but you may have a lot of people watching you online, so hello online. My daughter told me she would watch it from Pennsylvania in a few hours. We'll see if that happens. So, last week for Tashlich, I took a trip to one of my favorite spots, which is in the Japanese gardens, botanical gardens. And I knew I wanted to participate in Tashlich. I wanted to do something. So I went down there armed with very limited knowledge, and I did sort of a do-it-yourself service. And I did some study, I did some preparation, it's my thing. And since I wasn't able to find a flowing body of water, I knew I was going to have to get a little creative. But, and then I realized I could have gone to the Trinity and it would, there was some flowing, but oh well. I knew I was going to have to get a little creative. So I arrived late in the morning on Tuesday, a week ago, set my things down, took some notes I had written. I read Psalm 130, read some general castaway items about the sins of deception, ambition, stubbornness. Yeah, you get the drill. Then I took a little time to think more specifically about my own, what I've been going through, some of my regrets. So when I was ready, I read Micah 7:18 through 20 that we read today. May you cast to the sea depths all of our sins. Thank you, Jonah. And I fed watermelon to the koi fish. Seriously. I gave them watermelon. I actually had watermelon and fruit. I studied this. It's good for them. The problem is getting them to eat the watermelon. So there were all these like videos where you drop Cheerios in the middle. You take the watermelon slice. They really do. Once they get going, they're going. Dang. I told you I had to be a little creative. And yes, koi fish really do like watermelon. And it's good for them. They also like greens, like broccoli. And they do. They like the same foods we like. It's amazing. Okay, so honestly, as I stand here, and I told you this before, I'm a much better lecturer than I am at giving sermons or giving Devar Torahs. And normally, I would have this big computer set up in front of me. I would have a big screen behind me with PowerPoint, and I could do videos, and it's fantastic. And it's wonderful. I also know my subject matter a lot better. And my students are required to be there anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes. They have to be there, and they have to smile at me. That's the game, You know that. You're in college. Okay. So my plan, and after listening to the rabbi, this is actually sort of goes in line with your last two sermons. And I thought I'm probably going to be harassed for this because I really don't want to steal your plot. Sorry. Or give away your plot. Okay, fine. So if you heard the rabbi talk about his plots. And he also talked about last night the 120th, and he talked about all the different types of people that came here. And I thought that was just wonderful. I just really enjoyed those last two sermons. You can pay me later. So the story of my Tashlich experience is sort of an example of the way I practice my Judaism, especially as I finish up the second third of my life, 39 to 59, and I get ready to embark upon the third. I would like it to be the fourth. I'm okay with the third. Because the third is 60 through 90. New lessons all the time. This has been such a journey, going really for the past 6 years. I've been studying and practicing Judaism in sort of a roll your own kind of way. You know? So if there was ever a term for me, I would probably say I'm a lifelong learner, but I would also say that I'm an intentional, not necessarily observant religious Jew. Okay? You want to say that again? An intentional, not necessarily observant religious Jew. And that got me thinking about a tale of 4 Jews. So this is sort of a tale of 4 Jews, and I'm going to get back to it. So the problem is that using the term religious, I had a discussion with my sister, and she is my weekly Havruta partner. We went back and forth about the term religious for the sake of heaven, of course. I see religion as structure. You may call it dogma. I think something that's really important, one of my touchstones, is you really don't want your dogma to get run over by your karma. So you've got to be careful with the dogma. Now, my sister's viewpoint was that religious meant a person who follows halakha strictly. Okay, this is coming from a modern Orthodox woman. Okay. I'll just call her progressive. And I'm going to address that in a few minutes when I pose some questions. So this is my plot. This is where I begin my tale of 4 Jews. In my mind, they're like types. You have the culturally observant Jew. Right, Red? Culturally observant. I'm not picking on you. Okay. You have the traditionally observant religious Jews. I call those Torah Jays. Traditionally observant religious Jews. We have the culturally non-observant Jews. And then finally, my label, the intentional, not necessarily observant religious Jews. So as I delve into my Jewish studies, I'm learning Jewish tradition invites us to find meaning in pretty much everything. You know, you put 10 Jews in a room, you ask them what they think, you get 11, that's right, you get 11 answers. So we find meaning, story, and ethical teaching in every part of Torah, even in repeated words or crowns atop letters. You ever know? I mean, there's so much there. And a really well-crafted, somebody who really knows their craft so well can give you 100 really incredible, and you want to say yes to every one of those. So the meaning we find changes as we do. I told you I went from my second third to my third third. And when I looked at this, I want to say I started studying, probably 30 or 40 years ago. I had no idea what I was reading. And so that finding meaning is constant. It just changes as we get older. And I find that kind of fun. That's one of our spiritual technologies. Finding meaning or making meaning no matter what. No matter what, we're going to find it. Even if it's not there, we're going to make it up. So as Jews, we find meaning from our deep library of texts, traditions, rituals, like Tashlich, like the reading of the book of Jonah today, and of course, the tremendous symbolism from the high holidays. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to include Shabbat, because that has really become a major part of my Jewish experience. So, of course, it wouldn't be Yom Kippur. It wouldn't be a Yom Kippur speech if I didn't have a Devar Torah, right? You got to have a Devar Torah. All right. So why Tashlich and why Jonah? You ever thought about that? Why Tashlich and why Jonah? Have you thought about that? You're shaking your head. Okay. Why Tashlich and... Okay, sorry. Is it because it's too... Is it...
Did you click it? Is it on mute? You might have it on mute.
No. Somebody turned me off for a reason. I must be turning people off. Okay, well, I'm just going to have to speak a little louder. Why Jonah and why Tashla? Right. Yeah, Jonah's interesting. Over the last, well, let's see, the rabbi said, I want you to talk about your Jewish journey on August 22nd. And he stole my thunder because I'm funny about my Jewish journey because I mean, okay. Works just okay. Cool. Can everybody hear me okay? I mean, if I stand in front of the mic, okay. So this is just going to work because then I'd be having to hold this the whole time. Yeah, that's a good one too. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And so what I did is I just started reading commentary after commentary after commentary. And I didn't check the commentary in the book. So I didn't realize that there was commentary in this. And thank goodness it had nothing to what I'm going to talk about. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, y'all are going to skip ahead and you're going to go, he's just reading the same stuff. I'm not. There's some amazing, amazing things written about the book of Jonah. And I think that hopefully when I'm done, they will dovetail. And dove, by the way, is a hint. Does anybody know why dove is a hint? I'm going to be really impressed if y'all know. What? Yeah. What? I like that. What else about dove? Oh, okay. What else about dove? Yeah, I hope I'm right on this because if I'm not, I'm going to be really embarrassed. Rabbi, what? Whoa, very good. I love information like this. I have a trivia question for you. What happened 75 years ago today on October 5th? I'm even going to give you the date. 1947. If anybody knows this, you get all the rabbi points today. I'm going to take his points and I'll give you some of mine. October 5th, 1947. It is not a baseball thing. But it was around Jackie Robinson's time that he actually broke the color barrier. What is it? No, that's pretty good too. It was actually Harry Truman made the first television broadcast he made the first television broadcast. There were about 44,000 people in the United States that had TVs. The rest heard him on the radio. But he was the one that ushered it in today, 75 years ago. Yeah, totally useless information. Okay. This is how I keep my students awake. And then I get lost. Okay, so the commentary. So the commentaries that I read on the book of Jonah, trying to figure it out, was Aviva Gottlieb Zornberg. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. She wrote a book called, she's written a couple of books, but she wrote The Murmuring Deep, Reflections on the Biblical Unconsciousness. Unconscious. Mimi, that sounds like a book you would like. I don't know, it's cool. I mean, it's deep. Okay, well, Murmuring Deep. She put forth a fascinating set of concepts. She said, there is something more at play in this little book, which, and as you heard it, it's only 47 verses long, and it's 4 chapters, so it's short enough, obviously, to be read in its entirety. The story mentions the word big 14 times. Is there a reason for that?
Well, no, you're cool.
I don't know. I don't know, but there's apparently something to it. And she goes on to say it's a book of contradictions which ends in an unanswered question. She wrote the book of Jonah, and she invites interpretation. She says that the book invites interpretation from the first verse to the last. But she said that the meanings are never fully netted. So we're in the same boat. They say there's no conclusive answer. There's only questions. That's my journey. She asked in an essay, Jonah, the dynamics of compassion. I thought she was really, really bright and deep. She said, what does God want of Jonah? Something that cannot be demanded, that can only be evoked. Now, this is where it kind of gets interesting, because I'm thinking about Tashlich, and I'm thinking about God not being able to demand it, only to be able to evoke it. So I thought, interesting. A generous gaze, a softening of the rigid posture of one whom din is everything. What does din mean in Hebrew? It's what? Law, justice. Law, justice, right, is everything. A generous gaze, a softening of the rigid posture of one for whom justice is everything. An ability to relinquish a false self, a new way of being rather than of doing, that will allow him to stand in the spaces between states. A sense of God as an environment that makes it possible for him to surrender. Yeah, that went over my head too. But it got me thinking. Perhaps because the themes seem to be so consistent with release and catharsis. So that's why I'm thinking Tashlich and Jonah, because there's something about release, but then I use the word evoke, so maybe there's something about catharsis too. So here is this reluctant prophet who himself is literally cast, or some readings actually say, or he volunteers. Today's it said he volunteered to be cast into the depths of the sea and is consumed by the Dag Gadol, which is literally a big fish. Okay? So the connection to me seemed kind of obvious at that point. Jonah jumped or was voluntarily or otherwise tossed into the waters, consumed by the fish, like my koi, eating my sins that have now been transformed into now encrusted watermelon. It's kind of cool. If you've ever watched koi, they're really amazing fish. You can be very greedy. So both Jonah and my watermelon are consumed. Since the water was shallow, I cannot necessarily convey the whole being plunged or jumping into the depths part. And still, it is the sins that get consumed by the awaiting fish. A prayer by Jonah, and I'm going to skip the rest because y'all know this. And it's easier to get to my point. So after a series of events, there is a cathartic sense of redemption for the people of Nineveh, and joy providing a wonderful transition that takes place from Yom Kippur to Sukkot. We're cleansed of our sins, find a sense of redemption, let's celebrate. I mean, does it? I thought that was kind of cool. I didn't make that up, I found it. I thought about it, but I found it. So what began with Tashlich following 10 days of Teshuvah, our sins are carried away with someone else's coat. The scapegoat, a major thematic element, and once again ties into the theme. You've got Tashlich, you've got, Jonah, now you have the scapegoat. Instead of me getting devoured, it is the sacrificial goat. Or in the case of my do-it-yourself Tashlich service, the sacrificial watermelon. That's kind of fun. And so it is through the act of Tashlich and the ritual readings of Jonah and the scapegoat that we're actually able to get rid of our sins, this is interesting, from a safe distance. It's not like, it's here. It's, And if you're Garrett Cole, sorry, Astros. If you're Garrett Cole, really get that thing out there. And so it is that through the act of Tashlich and the ritual readings of Jonah and the scapegoat, we're actually getting it from a safe distance. Maybe this is why this obscure ritual of Tashlich has caught on so well. Anybody know how old? Did you check my math, by the way, on when Tashlich came about? Oh, it was 1427. Yeah, this 1427. I told you, I keep strange stuff in my head. Maybe this is why this ritual caught on, though people don't necessarily consciously realize the immense psychological power of such a ritual act. Do y'all think about that when is there a cathartic reaction when you do that? Does anybody feel that? For Tashley.
I'm not sure who's done Tashley here.
Anybody feel that? So, that really got me thinking about that whole evoke thing. Because if there's a cathartic element to Judaism, which is kind of what I get every Friday, I get really excited on Thursday night. I get really sad on Saturday afternoon because I know it's going to end. That's strange person. So, is this the cathartic drama that's playing itself out? We ache for a safe release of our accumulated toxins of guilt. Like the temple priests of old, we place our sins onto an external object and send them out to be devoured into oblivion. While we are able to go on to our next meal, our next year, hopefully a little cleaner, a little clearer, and then we do it again. So, see how I'm doing. Going a little longer. Can I tell you about Alan Liu? Are they having the penguin look?
No, you're fine.
Okay, just had to ask. I am speaking out loud. I have a tendency to write out loud. And the rabbi, a few years ago, got me thinking about, he had me read a book called This Is Real, and You Are Completely Unprepared. Have any of you read that? I know, it's a great title. This is real, and when you open it up, it really shows it. Has anybody read that? I gave a copy to Red. It's a great book. Okay, great book. And I'm going to tell you, I'm plugging it. I'm the lifelong learning chairman, and I'm going to plug it for next year because I think it would be great. And this is what he said about Teshuvah and these days of awe starting with Rosh Hashanah. This is where the cathartic drama plays out. For 10 days, 10 magical days, 10 days of Teshuvah, we inhabit a liminal space, a space known as in-betweenness. We have entered the days of awe through the gate of Rosh Hashanah, and hopefully we will exit through the gate of Yom Kippur. But for now, we float. Floating, it's a good metaphor. For now, Lou says, if we are fortunate, the experience of Rosh Hashanah has opened something up inside of us. It's evoked something. If we are fortunate of having moments of wakefulness, moments of realizing, oh my goodness, this is my life. This is my only life. How lucky to be able to say that. It can truly be cathartic. Moments of feeling the urgent tug towards change. Moments of knowing that whoever I have been, whoever you have been, whoever you think you are, whoever I think I am, it's not the only way I have to be. I can change. Lou believes transformation does not have a beginning, middle, and an end. That I will never reach the end of Teshuvah. That it's always going on. I am awake for a moment, and then I'm asleep again. There is this idea reflective of Jonah sleeping through the storm. Teshuvah seems to proceed in some kind of a circular motion. Every step away is also a step closer towards home. And it may never be clear to us, to me, that the work that I'm doing, this transformational element, will ever bore any kind of result. It's like the bamboo, you know? You get the bamboo, and then you water it, and you water it, and you water it, and 7 years later, and then all of a sudden it sprouts. Yeah, I'm waiting for the sprouts. Lou teaches that teshuvah, turning and returning and realigning ourselves in the right direction, once again is an endless process. When I stray from my path, make mistakes, get myself into trouble, I do it a lot of times, more with my mouth than anything else, my predicament can become a gift. It can be the agent of our turning. It's a gift. A journey of our soul longing to return. But wait, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. It's because I'm imperfect that I'm able to strive towards becoming better. It's because I'm imperfect that I'm able to imagine transformation and pursue it. Even if I feel like my missteps are pulling me further away from the home, which I yearn to be later, those missteps are also always the seed of my return. They're a seed. That's kind of cool. These 10 days of teshuvah invite me to open, almost done. These 10 days of teshuvah invite me to open the doors of my own heart, to walk inside and to sit there with all my emotions, with my hope and my joy and my fear and my grief and my sorrow and all the things that I wish I could change. And for whatever reason, I am choosing not to. And I thought about your buying those cemetery plots. So one of my touchstones, something I want to leave you with, is that when I say I can't, it means I am choosing not to. Did Jonah say he couldn't, or that he didn't want to? Last bit. Lou wrote, "The greatest drama of the season is the drama of choice. The power of choice is immense. We can choose to let go of our anger, boredom, fear, guilt, impatience, grief, disappointment, dejection, anxiety, and despair. And we can make this choice every day." Didn't you say, do you remember what you said, Samantha? One of the things that you said that was really cool when we had coffee? You said it's so cool that every day starts over again. Every day. And we can make this choice in a broader way as well. We can let go of every emotion, every constituted feeling as we become aware of it, and we can form a clear, continuous intention. There's that word. I'm an intentional Jew. We can form a clear and continuous intention to let those feelings go. You mean we can choose? When I encounter people who frustrate me, I can choose to let go of that frustration. When I get annoyed with the world, with my children, with myself, I can choose to release that annoyance instead of focusing on it. Wow. When I meet grief, I can choose to feel it and then to open my hands and let it float away. I think maybe that's why there's that connection. Because I don't know. I cannot know what the coming year will contain. Nobody in here can. And I can always choose the path of teshuvah, the path of sustaining my weekly ritual practice of Shabbat observance, even if it's done my way. And my way is candles, challah, wine. I text my daughter, wish her, I don't say Shabbat Shalom anymore because she just sends me a smiley face. So now sometimes I text her and I just say, have a great weekend. I check in with my son. He checks in more with me these days, which is really kind of cool. A special dinner with my wife, and she can attest to this. And just a nice quiet evening at home. I believe I can always choose. I believe you can always choose. And that is cathartic for me. Knowing Shabbat is just a week away or a couple of days. I can make it. I can make it okay. If I can't make it a brand new day, I can make a brand new week. I mean, I'm talking about release. So I can choose to open my heart, sit with what I'm feeling when it hurts. Can you tell I'm plugging Lou's book? Can you tell I'm plugging Lou's book? Yeah, I'm plugging it. All right, so skipping to the very back. Here's my thing. The rabbi got up, which means that, it's like when they start playing music at the Academy Awards. It's like, you're done. So I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to pose them to you. And I said I would go back to the tale of 4 Jews. Which one are you? Are you the culturally observant Jew? Are you the traditionally observant religious Jew? Are you the culturally non-observant religious Jew? That doesn't really make any sense, does it? And then I'm going to add one more word to my label. And I ran this by Cheryl, and she was okay with it. I think that this year, I'm an intentionally Shabbat observing, focusing on the spiritual more than the religious kind of Jew.
Thank you for taking some time to kind of walk us through all the things you're considering. One of the reasons why Jerry is just a great partner with his lifelong learning book, which is coming in the mail. We had some issues, so you're not getting it in the mail, is that he says, let's throw this out. And the hope over the years is that all kinds of different Jews and all kinds of different experiences, including WRJ, because I gave a shout out to MRJ. All these groups are doorways into Jewish life. And our hope is that when you open those booklets and you see everything from tzedakah to brunches to social justice to learning to read Hebrew, is that you see all those different pathways and places, whether it's feeding watermelon to koi, or picking up different services online, or selling funeral plots to people and offering eulogies for Jews who have no one there to put a fitting end to their story, to streaming in a closet when everybody else is out here. We all have different ways, to biking, to finding our Jewish journey. And the only wrong answer is when we decide we don't want to play the game. And I think part of what Jerry was trying to share with you is all these ideas that get his head to just a point of what's next, with the invitation that all of us in the year to come will find some way, however it is, even if it's not feeding watermelon to koi, to put ourselves in these sacred stories. Page 404, God of our mothers and fathers, in the work that will be the work of reflecting, the work of teaching, the work of doing, divine presence who our ancestors walked, watch over us, guard our paths, help us on our journey, bless us as you did Moses and Aaron, with this threefold benediction, with a life full of Torah and deeds. May God bless you and protect you. May you receive the light of kindness and grace. May God bestow favor upon you and give you peace. Page 409, together at the bottom of the page, I pose this challenge to my spirit, to receive with open mind and heart what is offered to me. May I learn to embrace as easily as I evaluate. May I quiet the ever-present instinct to judge and critique. May I cultivate the gift of listening without framing a reply. May I learn to accept help from those who care for me. May I grow less insistent that life bend to my will and expectations. May generosity of spirit find a home within. As we turn to page 412, once again to Vidui, we read together at the bottom of the page. As parents show tenderness to their children, may you show mercy to those who worship you. Like the heavens that tower above the earth, your love is powerful for those who revere you. Liberation is a gift from God, a blessing upon your people. You are the God of all we can perceive, our haven, the God of Yaakov. And you are the God of all that is beyond our perception. The one who has faith in you is fortunate. Sovereign God, show us the way to freedom. Answer us on this day of our calling out to you. Moses prayed to God, as you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now in keeping with their boundless love. Page 416. As we turn to the top of Ashamnu, I think of the title of that book that Jerry mentioned. This is totally real and you're unprepared. And Bob walked in, and Bob read the Lou book. So there you go. Ask Jerry later. You read the book. And so are we ready? Are we prepared? The time has come either way. Eloheinu v'lei avotenu v'imotenu tavo lefanecha tefilatenu v'yal titale midchinatenu anachnu azei panim ukshe oref lomar lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'lei avotenu v'imotenu tzadikim anachnu v'lo chatanu aval anachnu chatanu. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. Turn to Hashem.
Please rise. Barnu dofi.
Shechanu, Tiavnu,
Ta'inu,
Ta'inu,
Titanu,
Titanu, Please be seated. Page 418. We read together in English. Al chet shachatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake, and the harm we have caused your world through insincere promises, the ways we have wronged you by judging others unfairly, and the harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters, the ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and the harm we have caused in your world through condescension, the ways we have wronged you through our innermost thoughts, the harm we have caused in your world through the words of our mouths, the ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world by mistreating a friend or neighbor, the ways we have wronged you by hating without cause, harm we have caused in your world through hypocrisy. For all these failures of judgment and will, God, forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. Together on the next page, Al chet shachatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world through our thoughtlessness, the ways we have wronged you by profaning your name in public, and harm we have caused you in your world through offensive speech, the ways we have wronged you through gossip and rumor, the harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers, the ways we have wronged you through narrow-mindedness, and harm we have caused you in your world through dishonesty in business, the ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, the harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink, the ways we have wronged you by betraying trust, and harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. Page 426 responsively. Avinu Malkeinu, as Joseph wept and opened a forgiving heart to his brothers, let our hearts be open to those who ask our forgiveness. Avinu Malkeinu,
As the high priest entered the innermost shrine to atone, let our acts of teshuvah touch our innermost life.
Avinu Malkeinu,
As Jonah cried out to God, I thought I was driven away. Let us reach for the divine from the depths of our being.
Avinu Malkeinu,
As you said to Moses and Israel, you shall be holy, for I am holy. Let us affirm today, we shall pursue holiness in our everyday lives, revering mother and father, providing for the poor, rising before the aged, loving neighbors and strangers as ourselves.
Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice. We rise and stand before the open ark.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kaneinu, Kaneinu, Yeh Malurasim,
We read together, Avinu Malkeinu,
Almighty and merciful, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, remember we are but dust of the earth. Avinu Malkeinu, let this hour in your presence be a time of compassion and acceptance. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families. Avinu Malkeinu, act for the sake of those slain for their devotion to you. Avinu Malkeinu, act for the sake of those killed because they were Jews. Avinu Malkeinu, act for the sake of those who suffered fire and water to sanctify your name. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love. Page 430, we read together, Aleinu, ours the duty to listen, and ours the duty to praise. Ours is the duty to respond to what we hear, to raise questions and build houses of study in which to ask them, to praise the Creator for creating, to praise the Creator for rest, to praise the God of Torah for the challenge of Torah, to praise the God of eternity for every hour, every day, to plant and build, to seek peace and pursue it. Ours the duty to do justice, ours the duty to be Israel, to fix the broken, to open doors of hope,
to bow before a commanding power that speaks to us from Sinai, from history, from deep within the heart. Hear, O Israel, it is not your duty to complete the work,
but you may not turn away. Page 432.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, l'ateit gedula leyotzei bereshit, shelo asanu keguyei ha'aratzot, shelo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam kelheinu kahem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
We turn to page 510. In the middle of the page. And now, every place where we lift our eyes to God is a holy of holies. Created in the image of God, we are all high priests. Every day of our life lived in love is a Yom Kippur. Every word that we speak in truth is the name of God. We pray from the Holy of Holies in our hearts. Our God and God of all generations before us, may it be your will in the coming year to grant us a year of abandonment and atonement, a year of blessings bestowed and received, a year of compassion, a year of delight and exaltation, a year of enlightenment, a year of friendship and forgiveness, a year of going up in gladness to the land of Israel, a year of health and healing and humor, a year of inner strength and well-being, a year of joy and Jewish celebration, a year of knowledge and learning for its own sake, a year of love between parents and children, friends and spouses, brothers and sisters, a year of mitzvot and moments of sweetness, a year of nature protected and enjoyed, a year of optimism and hope, a year of peace pursued with perseverance, a year of quiet and tranquility, a year of rain in its season, a year of song and spiritual growth, a year of Torah study and tikkun olam, a year of understanding and unity, a year of vows fulfilled and violence overcome, a year of wisdom acquired and shared, a year of coexistence among the families of the earth, a year of young and old reaching out to one another, a year of Zion aglow, light for us and for all the world. Our God and God of the generations before us, grant us a year of gratitude for the most profound of blessings, your gift of life. We take a few moments. The books will be handed out for Yisker. We continue in 5 minutes.